pals, poets, and freaks. It's me, Penny Angela. Welcome back to my channel. So today, as the time I'm filming this, it is April 2nd. You know what that means. That means we have now made it to the fourth month of the year, which means it's time for the snob list. If you are new to my channel, snob list is basically my tongue-in-cheek way of making fun of myself. I do find it really snobby and pretentious to sit here and talk to y'all about all the films and literature that I've read and the food that I've eaten and the drinks that I've had, the elixirs, the potions. I embrace my pretension. I embrace my snobby side. I am a pretentious person sometimes. My way of making fun of myself. Ultimately, it's my favorites of the month. This list isn't everything that I've watched or ate, obviously. I'm only discussing my favorites, not everything that I've entertained, consumed, etc. It's only my favorite. So that's how I like to do these style of videos. Let's get into the snob list for the month of March. Diet soda break. Have you all ever had this? Strawberries and cream, zero sugar. I've started drinking these religiously when my mom came to visit during Thanksgiving of last year. So I always keep a case at home. Not on the snob list this month because this is like a daily thing, but yeah. The month of March, it's been a sexy month. I don't know what was in the air, but I watched and read so many things revolving around the sex work industry, and I don't know why, but it's just the way the cookie friggin' crumbled. Let's speak about books, literature, words, and more. For the month of March, I read this book called Candy Girl. It is written by Diablo Cody. Now, I had no idea until at the end of the book, when I finished the book, I wanted to research the author. I like to do that with books where I don't know really much about the author, especially when it's a memoir, such as this book. When I was reading the back of this, her first screenplay, Juno, is being produced by Mandate Pictures. So at this time, Juno wasn't even out yet. She wrote the screenplay for Juno, and I also found out she wrote the screenplay for Jennifer's Body, I believe Lisa Frankenstein. What is so cool about knowing that information after reading her memoir was those things happened to her after this book. Basically, this book is about her 1-year stint at a strip club and getting into the sex work industry. Her story differs from a lot of the cliche sex worker stories where people think it's because the girl has had trauma or she's an addict or she's paying her way through school. Not saying she doesn't need the money, but she comes from a nice home. She had a job as a typist in the Midwest. I believe she's from Minnesota. That's the Midwest, right? Yeah. Minnesota, don't you know? And Minnesota, don't you know? Like, isn't that like the Midwest? But by a series of events, random events at that, it led her into becoming a stripper and working at peak shows and working at pay-for-play little glass box shows. Really, really good book. In the beginning of the book, it started really slow, and I did not like how it was written. But towards the middle of the book, the girth of the book, if you will, things started getting better. There's something really familiar about this book. Now, for my own lore, I don't know how long some of y'all have been following me, but I am not a stranger to the world of spicy dancing. No, I had a small stint, like in 2017, working at some clubs in LA. Didn't really last long. At that time, I was plus size, but like I wore it nicely, and I was dealing with so much discrimination, racism, and it was just not a moment for me. Would I go back now that I've lost weight? I've fucking thought about it. I need to lose more stomach weight, and then I probably will go back because honestly, like, that's a whole other video, right? Like, I still got my pleasers. I still have my fucking pleasers. Yes, I do. Gag it. Yes, I fucking do. I still have my pleaser heels. Hello, like, I'm Cinderella. If you have been a sex worker, if you ever been a stripper in particular, you're going to just like really relate to this book. Just if you know strippers, I know a lot of fucking strippers. I know a lot of full service girls. I know girls that do all sorts of spicy work. They're lovely women and I respect them. And just reading this book, an insider's perspective of someone that's in sex work, but they don't really identify as a sex worker in a sense. She's not a career dancer. Obviously, she went on to become a full-time writer, filthy rich now, these amazing screenplays. Not filthy rich, but you know what I mean. My favorite pages of the book. I'm not going to tell you which page, so if you want to read this book, you don't know if it's the beginning, the end, the middle, not to spoil anything. I've always believed in the potency of women. I supported and participated in the sex industry even as it was buffeted with criticism from people who felt it objectified us. I felt like a libertine dancing on stage to AC/DC or masturbating in a glass box for some civil engineer. I argued with any well-meaning friend who dared to insinuate that I was devaluing myself. There was a reason men paid ridiculous sums of money for the company of an exaggeratedly feminine creature. Because strippers are spectacular. They rule. It wasn't the nudity or the grinding of any sex-phobic moral issue that was pinning me to the chair in a moment of blinding epiphany. It was actually the opposite. The one-on-one aspects of the industry made sense. It was the whole girls in bulk thing that repulsed me. Hundreds of girls on the floor at some clubs, all reduced to begging dogs for an army of smug little emperors. The rules of attraction were reversed at a strip club. Girls that could halt midday traffic at Nicolay Mall was rejected by fat guys wearing Zubas. Joe Punchart with $20 could toy with several dancers over the course of an afternoon, finally selecting the one who would receive the dubious privilege of entertaining him for 3.5 minutes. The rejected girls, regardless of how loved they were by husbands or paramours or infants at home, would feel worthless, all because of old Joe. Those instances multiplied, and soon everyone felt the creeping crud regardless of how much ego they projected. It's like a girl buffet, and no one really savors the brown goop at a buffet. You pile your sanitized plate with discount food and shovel it in as quickly as you can. It all tastes the same and has a sluggish mouthfeel. You don't stop to weigh the relative merits of the chicken versus the spaghetti. You don't notice the orphaned lo mein noodle in your blueberry cobbler. It's all crap, but it does the job. There's always more food somewhere. Another steam tray being hustled out the kitchen. I hated the girl buffet. I deserve better presentation, I thought. We all did. And if that doesn't sum it up for you, man, if you know, you know. If you get it, you get it. Book at Amoeba on Record Store Day, like 2-3 years ago. It was only $3.99. Candy Girl. I have been keeping up with reading one book a month. Yeah, okay. Yes. Before I would be like, oh my God, I need to read 5 books in a month. I'm not reading enough. No, actually, I like taking a month to read a book. I like savoring the book. I like being able to reread a chapter, okay, if I need to. I feel like society, we are just moving so fast, and it's okay to slow down. It's not a marathon. It's not a contest by, oh, I read so many books. I read more books than you this month. Like, if you're reading even one book, man, you're doing better than most people. Because the literacy rate in this country right now, it is declining, okay? So people like us that are still picking up a book, even if it's only one, even if it's a freaking manga, if you're reading a book, give me a kiss. Mwah. Next, we are going to discuss the films that I enjoyed for the month of March. So, cinema. Y'all know I watch a million movies in a month. I watched a lot of films this month, but man, this was a really weird month for film, and I don't know why. I didn't really like any of the movies I watched. I mean, I did like some. Some I fell in love with. Some changed, my brain chemistry. Never mind. I did have a film. No, I take that back. There's a few films that did change my whole life that I'm going to discuss this month. But I watched a lot of bad films, so I'm not going to discuss every film I consumed this month because a lot of them were not good. Let's discuss film for the month of March. The first film we are going to discuss is Cleo from 5 to 7. I recently did a film discussion of this movie on my YouTube. I will have that somewhere in this video linked. Definitely go check it out after you watch this video. That video I did on that film, it flopped, which is fine. Realizing you guys really don't like when I talk about film and art, but I'm still going to do it because I like doing it to incorporate other things. So, keep them views going, but hopefully I'll have a demographic that, you know, enjoys both. Not saying that you guys don't, but having a more diverse demographic, meaning more people find me. So let's say half of my followers love my fashion and my what I eat in a day, then the other half loves my film discussions and my book talks and my snob list. Any video surrounding art doesn't really do well on this page. mm. Anyway, back to Cleo from 5 to 7. This is a French New Wave classic directed by the genius Agnes Varda. Already said everything I feel about this film on my review, which you guys can go watch after this one. Pretty much relates so much to this protagonist, especially surrounding the idea of health anxiety, death anxiety, anxiety in general, grasping beauty, feeling like an object, but not being listened to, isolation, despair. All of these things, yeah, I have personal experience with. It basically showcasing that a woman's mind is a prison. A woman's world is some way is a prison. That's a whole other discussion for another video. Maybe not even another video. I probably won't ever get that deep on this channel. So my review on Letterboxd of Cleo from 5 to 7, I wrote, there's this quote that says, I think my fear is gone. I think I'm happy. That's what I have to say about Cleo from 5 to 7. If you want to know my full discussion, go and watch the video. Posted today at the time I'm filming this. For the month of March, I'm looking at my Letterboxd. I watched
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
I watched 22 films in the month of March. Also, most of these films I'm watching are on the Criterion channel. It is the best app. You love film. I cannot stress that enough. Get over it, pay the fucking fee, enjoy Criterion. If you love film, if you love art, if you love poetry, if you are an artist, you need to be on Criterion. That's enough, like enough. The next film on my snob list for the month of March is Alice in the Cities. Alice in the Cities is directed by the iconic filmmaker Wim Wenders, or Wim Wenders. I feel like I'm always pronouncing his name wrong. Iconic director of films such as Paris, Texas, and Wings of Desire. Wenders isn't an American, but he does Americana so well. It's one of those instances where sometimes you need someone that isn't of that culture to show you the culture through their eyes for the first time, showing you how they see America, something that we see every day as Americans if you are American watching this. But the way he does Americana, you would think he's from America, but he does it in such a beautiful way. It also reminds you that he's not from America because it's so romanticized. Not so romanticized, but it is romanticized, obviously, in a sense. It's a fucking movie. It's also really real to the point where I'm like, this is what it's like on the road. This is what it's like when you live in these sort of towns. Whenever I'm watching Paris, Texas, or now Alice in the Cities, when I see some of these landscapes and I see some of the people that the protagonist encounters, they feel really familiar to the way I was raised and brought up. No one does a landscape like Wenders. This film was made in 1974, and it's about a German journalist that is traveling the United States, but is greeted by writer's block. So he then decides, you know what, I'm going back to Germany, and he books a flight back to Germany. It's a woman, and this woman basically changes the trajectory of his life. He decides to abruptly leave him with her child, and basically is like, I'll be back, here's my kid, figure it out. That's just the gist of it. And there's feelings and there's emotions and there's isolation and loneliness and finding comfort in strangers and the open road and all of it. It's such a beautiful movie. I will say this, the photo booth scene, iconic. When you watch this film, that photo booth scene, it was one of those things that really stuck to me. So if you haven't watched it, I suggest you go and watch it. Next film I watched on Tubi, and it's Showgirls. Yes, the iconic stripper Showgirls. Would y'all believe if I told y'all this was my first time ever watching Showgirls? I've seen it before, but I was so young, I don't remember. First time watching Showgirls, it's a classic. It's amazing. The outfits, the hair, the aesthetic, the desert landscape, the backdrop. I loved it. The acting was so bad that it was good. I feel people don't understand the campiness of Showgirls, and they're like, this is one of the worst movies of all time. Actually, it's not. I can name you a worse movie. Again, another sex work inspired film on this list. So if you haven't watched Showgirls, Girl, just go and Google it. It is so iconic. It's so popular. I'm pretty sure you've seen outfits inspired by it on Tumblr or TikTok or something of that nature. Showgirls is definitely one of those films where it's like, if you get it, you get it. There is some deeper meanings to this movie than people want to give it credit for. There's a lot of greed and power dynamic between man and woman, even from the beginning of the film when she gets her luggage stolen by trusting a man, which you should never fucking do. Ever. Okay, to give a trigger warning, there is a sexual assault scene in here. I cannot watch scenes like that. They literally hurt to watch. It's just like, ugh, I can't. And there's never no revenge good enough for a man that does that. I just never feel satisfied even when the woman gets revenge or beats him up. It's never enough. I feel even, is it enough for that? Like, you just need to like rot in hell forever while you're alive if you do that to a woman. So, yeah. What I love about this film shows just how smart strippers are. These men that she encountered, they think she's dumb because she can't pronounce Versace. She says Versace. They think she's just some dumb little bimbo. But actually, she's playing the game that they invented. She's playing the game better than they are. So disillusioned by her beauty, they don't realize they're getting played. Love when a woman flips that shit on men. That's what I also love about the power dynamic sometimes of dancing in terms of empowerment. Not saying it's always an empowering thing. There is no job that is filled with empowerment every single day you step in. Any job can just feel fucking lame and degrading. It's not a linear film at all, but there are the themes of greed, power, and capitalism. How those three things pretty much run the world around all the characters in this movie, wanting more and what you would do to get more. Spicy world-based movie that I watched in the month of March is The Ranch. I streamed this on the app Tubi. The Ranch was so good to me. It is not the best acting, no. It was initially set out to be a TV show, but it ended up becoming a movie. It did feel like it ended kind of abruptly. This takes place at a ranch in Nevada, a ranch that does full service. It is a brothel, basically. Well, not basically, it is a brothel. And it follows the tale of a woman that works there who gets married, doesn't tell her fiance that, hey, I'm an ex-hooker. You know, I used to work at the brothel. She's trying to go the straight and narrow path. And within that, there's also other girls that work at the brothel. And we get to have our eyes open to their lives, dealing with ex-husbands and co-parenting. You ever known anyone in that industry? If you've been in that industry, not saying working at a brothel, but even being a cocktail waitress at a strip club, a dancer, working at a brothel even, working at a massage parlor, anything in that sort of spicy industry. You grew up around it, if your mom was it, if your dad was one, anything, because it is a really niche experience that obviously not everyone in the world can relate to, which is a good thing, right? Because it's a subculture. It's a little bit taboo, at least it should be. Back in the day, it was taboo, and it was for a particular group of people that could handle such environments. And it's just campy, and it's low budget, and it's a really fun watch. Sometimes you need to watch something that's fun, and I like that it's based around the sex work industry, but it's not depressing. It's still fun. It's funny. Every character in this film you're rooting for in some way. Also, fashion, so amazing. I mean, it's filmed in the early 2000s, which is like one of my favorite periods of fashion. I kind of want to steal every outfit from every girl in this movie because it's all so sick. It's all stuff that I could see myself wearing. I'm going to rapid fire this because I can be here all day talking about film. I watched Marie Antoinette, directed by the iconic Sofia Coppola. This movie was my first time watching again. Yes, it was my first time watching Marie Antoinette. I watched it before. I don't really remember it, so I wanted to watch it again. I think it's overrated. I think that we often feel, just because something is so visually and beautifully stunning, we kind of forget that we are watching a movie. There's just something missing in this movie. Kirsten Dunst, I love you. Coppola, I love you. The acting is good, but there's something really missing in it. There was periods of it that I just started to not even pay attention to the film. Once you get past all the beautiful shit that's happening, the beautiful costumes, the beautiful cinematography, the beautiful location, set design, food, all of it. It's not a bad movie, but it's not like her best film that Coppola ever directed. I do appreciate its beauty, but I was expecting more. I felt like I was continuously waiting for this film to start, but it never began. I was waiting for like, okay, now it's getting somewhere, but it just kind of felt like it was dragging in a way. But it is visually delicious and pleasant to look at. It's one of those films that I love the idea of it on paper. I love the idea of it in photographs. But when it comes to the actual execution and watching it on screen, it fell flat. Watched Wicked this month. Rapid fire this. Wicked, overrated. I know I'm not discussing things that I don't like, but I do want to discuss Wicked in this snob list because I am a Wicked nerd. I love the original Wicked with Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. I am Broadway baby. I love Wicked, the original Wicked. It was like my whole thing growing up. So naturally, when I found out there was going to be a actual film version of Wicked, I was, of course, freaking excited. The color grading pissed me off. I felt like this movie did not need to be as long as it was. The singing was great. The acting was good. But I still prefer, honestly, the original. Cynthia Erivo, like every scene, she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bitch? Like, stop. It's a 3 out of 5 stars to me, but I was expecting more. The next film will be A Real Young Girl. This film was made in 1976 and it's directed by Catherine Brilliant or Brilliant. Probably butchering that. I'm gonna read the description right here. Basically, it's a surreal voyage into adolescent sexuality. Bored and restless, Alice spends much of her time lusting after Jim, a local sawmill worker. When not lusting after him, Alice fills the hours with such pursuits as writing her name in a mirror with her vaginal secretions and wandering the fields with her underwear around her ankle. And in true teenage tradition, she spends a lot of time writing in her diary. What's interesting about this film is that, oh wow, the sun just like left and things just got really dark. Sorry for the lighting. Whoa. Like the sun just like left. Isn't that crazy? Hold on. All right, y'all, I'm back. The sun now came back out. Like, I don't know. Let's get back into the film. This film discusses the female perspective of a sexual awakening as a teenager, and often in films we see it be about a teenage boy, adolescence, about films like American Pie and that infamous pie whipped cream scene. So when we see it as a female, as a young woman, for some reason it does make me more uncomfortable, and I do have to unpack that. Why? Why does that make me uncomfortable? For one, there are so many scenes where we see her sticking so many different objects of herself. Spoons, insects, like so many things. We see her actual private region, again, makes me uncomfortable because she is a teenage girl. And not saying I want to see a teenage boys thing either, like disgusting. Like, but something about it being a teenage girl, I don't know why it just feels so much more uncomfortable. Is it because we don't expect much out of men? And I think that really is what it is. A young man, you know, play with himself and be a horny little toad. We expect that even out of men at 90 years old, right? They just never fucking stop. Seeing that from a young girl, I don't know why it makes you uncomfortable. This movie makes Lolita look like Disneyland. This movie makes all those little coquette movies look like the most PG safe thing in the world, because what happens in this, and mind you, this is a French film. The French will execute and push buttons in ways that Americans don't and cannot. I'm just going to leave that there. If you do watch this, be prepared for those sorts of actions and imagery. We see her write her name with her own vaginal secretions. But on the other end, I'm like, this shouldn't make me uncomfortable because it's natural, right? And women, we should be able to express our sexuality as we develop as women, regardless of our age. As long as it's consensual and safe, we should be able to practice that and even to express that without it being seen as taboo. And that is something that I have to work within my own inner thoughts to why it even made me feel uncomfortable in the first place. I think someone wrote on the Letterboxd, this isn't my review, but someone wrote, why are we so accepting of male sexuality but refuse girls the opportunity to be as disgusting as us? Let girls write their names with their vaginal discharge. Can I get a hell yeah? And the last film for the month of March I would like to discuss is Dancing at the Blue Iguana, and I watched this film on Tubi. Dancing at the Blue Iguana has such a star-studded cast. It has Daryl Hannah, Jennifer Tilly, has Sandra Oh. This movie basically follows 5 exotic dancers dancing at one of LA's most notorious nightclubs, the Blue Iguana. It's a week in their life, and a lot happens in their lives during this week. And it's a very human film. I'm not gonna read the full review, but on Letterboxd I wrote, it's a good movie, not great. I wish there was more structure, even with it following the lives of different dancers at the club. Daryl Hannah is marvelous in this. Also, the scene where Sandra Oh was dancing and the solo mascara tear was coming down her face was just peak cinema. It was so good. I enjoyed this feeling of unresolved conflicts and unresolved circumstances. That makes it feel more real. The sun is going up and down, back and around. Just deal with the lighting for right now, y'all. I don't know what to tell you. I like that this movie doesn't have much of a resolution, and it's not a cliffhanger, but it just goes to show you that shit happens, bad shit happens in life, and then the next day comes and we have to keep going on. Another film that depicts the sex work industry and I feel a really honest way. Oddly enough, Jennifer Tilly isn't my favorite character in this movie. It's actually Daryl Hannah. Jennifer Tilly actually kind of irritated me in this movie. I don't know why, I just found it to be like a little too much. But anyway, that's the end of the film segment of this video. Let's talk about food and drink. Food and drink. Chick-fil-A kale salad. I had it once and then I was making it like for a week straight. Loved that salad. I had Hawaiian barbecue for the first time. Would have eaten it more, but I am in a calorie deficit, so I can't be eating Hawaiian barbecue every day. I'm still putting it on my stop list because it was my first time ever having Hawaiian food. I've been so into grapes. Y'all know I'm a green grape person. I love grapes. I've been snacking on grapes all month. Elote. Okay, elote chopped salad in particular. I've been obsessed with the everything but the elote chopped salad kit from Trader Joe's and adding my own chicken sausage or grilled chicken to the salad kit. I've tried the Trader Joe's one. I've tried the Taylor Farms one, not the name of the brand, but 3 different elote salad kits. Mexican street corn salad kits is what they call them, but it's fucking elote esquite. I also bought the everything with the elote seasoning. That's how obsessed I became with elote salad. Just elote corn, salad, like on a bed of lettuce. Like, it's so delicious. Also been eating a lot of everything with the elote dip from Trader Joe's. So delicious. It's only 60 calories a serving because it's a yogurt-based dip. And I would add a little bit of that to my salad to make it like even more elote salad dressing vibes. And it was so freaking good. I was gifted a Nespresso machine for my job. So yes, that's on the list. I've been using my Nespresso every day. Still haven't made the ideal latte just yet. I am figuring it out, but I love my Nespresso machine. Boulder Canyon chips. You can get these at Whole Foods. You can get these at Erewhon. So delicious. They are made with avocado oil. I first tried from a vending machine the Hatch green chili flavor, which is limited edition and I can't find it anywhere. That one bag had me wanting to try a big bag. So I tried the regular sea salt and then I tried the buffalo ranch. All delicious. Like, I could eat Boulder Canyon chips every day if I could, but I can't. But I could if calories didn't exist, okay? And the last 2 things on this list I find really strange. One, I'm eating a lot of carrots. I am obsessed with eating baby carrots. They are such a high volume, low calorie, nutritious snack. They are for skin and eye health. Carrots and Dijon mustard, carrots with barbecue sauce, carrots and cottage cheese with ranch seasoning powder mixed in. Carrots are on their own. Any sauce or dip I can find in my refrigerator, I'm eating it with a fucking carrot. It has replaced chips in a way for me to snack on dips without eating the chip. Even though obviously I love chips, but I can't be eating like 50 chips in a day. And the last thing on the food and drink section of this video, peanut butter. You heard that right. I like peanut butter now. I don't know what's going on, you guys. I am obsessed with peanut butter. It started with the PB2 powder. And then I started eating a lot of chocolate peanut butter, low calorie ice cream. And then from there, now I have another Breyer's chocolate peanut butter ice cream in my freezer. Peanut butter filled pretzels. I have real peanut butter in my fridge now. Real peanut butter, not just PB2 powder, real peanut butter. Natural peanut butter. which is just peanuts, salt, and water. Oily on top, it separates because it's a natural peanut butter. It's not that jiffy stuff. Been loving peanut butter. As I said, ice cream. I drizzle peanut butter on my yogurt bowls. I eat it by the spoonful. I've been eating peanut butter in dark chocolate peanut butter cups. I love peanut butter. I don't know why. I'm eating it more than almond butter. Like, how weird? Like, how weird is that? I never thought I would be saying that. Let's talk about music. 3 things that we're going to talk about. I'm still listening to shitloads of Queens of the Stone Age, which I discussed, I believe, in my January Snob list. Really major Queens of the Stone Age kick in January. Back into it again. Been listening to a lot of Morrissey. Love Morrissey, love the Smiths, and I've been listening to a lot of Jewel towards the end of the month. I forget how iconic Jewel is and how underrated she is, especially as a songwriter. Her album, Pieces of You, I believe that's her debut album. Flawless track list. Some of the most poignant, profound, beautiful poetry, songwriting that has ever been written, truly. If you've never listened to that album, listen to the song Daddy and listen to the song Painters. Listen to the song Pieces of You. I'm gonna have some of my favorite songs from that album here. Also knowing her story about like how she was homeless when she was younger, driving in her car with her guitar. I don't know. I love Jewel. Creatively, for the month of March, I've been watching a lot of movies on Tubi as well. A lot of those movies aren't on the snob list. Okay, again, I watched 21 movies this month. We'll be here all day if I talk about every single film I watch. But Tubi is a great resource if you want to watch movies made in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, random films like of that nature. I recommend Tubi. It is a free app, y'all. If you want to get into film, please watch Tubi. Showgirls is no longer on Tubi, but now it's on Criterion. Showgirls is a Criterion classic, okay? Gagging, okay? The last segment of my snob list for the month of March, we are going to talk about thoughts, realizations, emotions, all that. Let's talk about being skinny. Skinny talk. I've decided that I'm going to be kind of stepping away from skinny talk. Not stepping away from weight loss, not stepping away from being active and healthy and eating well and eating clean, but skinny talk. I feel that skinny talk in the beginning for me was fine, but oddly enough, it's doing the reverse for me. It's making me think too much about food. I'm calling things binges that aren't really binges. And granted, a binge could be anything. It's just anything to me where I feel like I'm eating out of not having control. I know I don't want to do it, but I can't stop my brain from doing it. So I'm doing the action, not necessarily like I'm binging so much food that my stomach hurts, which is obviously the textbook definition of binge. But I also mean the action of not having control over how I consume food, even if I'm not hungry, even though I already had it. But I keep thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. That is where it leads a slippery slope. And I feel being on Skinny Talk and getting so much of that content is making me so much more aware of every single thing that I eat, as opposed to before when I started my weight loss journey. I wasn't thinking about food and I was losing weight without really thinking about it. Now, Skinny Talk has me thinking so much about every calorie that I consume, and I don't feel that is beneficial for me. I think there are some gems of Skinny Talk about eating well, getting your steps in, getting your ass off the fucking couch, not eating when you're hungry, not eating to the point of feeling like you are about to burst out the seams and your stomach is about to explode. Normal size portions. I do believe there is obviously an obesity issue in America. We do have food issues here. So those aspects are fine, but I just don't want to be in a realm of hearing so much negative self-talk of you fucking fatty, you fatso, you pig, oink oink. And I understand some of these girls say, oh, I speak like this because I'm speaking to myself. Okay, well then talk to yourself. Why are you posting it on the internet? When I'm yelling at myself on the phone to one of my girlfriends, that's between me and her. When I'm like, oh my God, Penny, you're such a dumb bitch, like blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to make a TikTok where I'm basically shitting on myself. Words are spells, and I don't want to absorb that energy of negative self-talk, even if it's towards themselves. If I'm hearing it, that self-talk is now self-talk to me. I don't want that, and I don't want to think about food so much when I can be thinking about art and poetry and films and my cat and vacations and road trips and thinking about other things. I know what I need to do to maintain my weight loss and to further my weight loss, but I don't need to have that be my world. This video has been on for too long. I'm gonna stop it here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this snob list for the month of March. It was a spicy one filled with talks of sex work and stripping and working at brothels and being a hooker. Yeah, we love to see it. We love to see it. Thank you so much for sticking around to my long-winded yap session of film, food, books, drinks, all of the above and in between. Just excited to see where my inspiration and train of thought and how I grow as a human each month. And doing these snob lists really helps me see where I am artistically, where my brain is at, what type of art I want to consume. Why am I consuming a bunch of fucking sex work shit during the month of March? I don't know why, but I'm hoping by the end of the year, every snob list will make sense in the grand scheme of this game called life. I love you so much, my little poets, cinephiles, and freaks. And I shall see you in the next video. Love you. Bye.